says okay. So, Growing Cactus and Succulents, a Comedic Field Guide by Mouse and Dicky. So we're going to talk about the basics.
Bunch of science nerds.
Yeah. Oh, it gets worse.
Oh, yeah.
It gets worse.
Don't mix those.
Yeah, don't mix those at all.
Yeah.
And don't mix them with bleach. Or at least don't mix the ammonia with the bleach.
That's right.
We should probably add a disclaimer to this presentation.
Oh yeah.
You might know.
Don't try anything at home. Or don't try some of the things at home.
Or only do it with actually mature adult supervision.
Adult supervision. Wear all the safety.
Mature.
Now you're saying none of us can do this. But take everything with a grain of salt. With a grain of
That'll
salt.
kill your plane.
Well, yes. Is that the point? But yes, we're going to talk about the basics. Not just baking soda or ammonia.
We all had too much caffeine.
It's okay. So we know that there are burning questions that everybody has. Things like, I bought something that pokes me. Is it a cactus? Like, that's a common thing people ask. You know, they go to the store, they go to the big box springs, they touch a plant, it stabs them, and they immediately want to know if it's a cactus because then it becomes desirable and they want to take it home. Somebody randomly sent you a plant, your enemy, whatever. How do you tell if it's real? Your boss tells you to buy a succulent for the office, so you bought yourself a cactus and now he wants to fire you. I mean, that's a common situation we have all found ourselves in. And, you know, variegated plants are really expensive sometimes, and it's hard to come by. So can you use bleach? I will tell you that some of these questions have been asked.
Oh my gosh.
Vicki and I spent extensive research on Facebook plant forums. You did some Reddit stuff. We did some polls in other plant societies. These are very legitimate questions. So, you know, let's get some answers here.
But first.
You want to do these?
Yeah. So we have examples of cactus and succulents, but the most important thing is that not all cactus and succulents have pokey names. So while some cactuses do, not everything that pokey falls into these categories of plants. The best way to tell if your plant is indeed a succulent is to look it up or ask a friend or come to the cactus, the COCSS club. Your boss probably hates you and is looking for an excuse to fire you if they said that your cactus is
Your
not
succulent.
Or if your
cactus is not a succulent.
Yes.
They just hate you.
Yeah. Who's just getting a new job, preferably one that falls with plants or like-minded plant people.
This is slide 4.
Slide 4, yeah.
Are you doing that? Do you want to do this part or do you want me to?
I think I covered the first part. If you want to jump into the specifics, yeah.
So cactuses are any of a family of Cactaceae, which is a cactus family. And they are plants that have succulent stems and branches with scales or spines instead of leaves and are found especially in dry areas such as deserts, but not all the time. They are succulents, but not all succulents are cactuses. And you want to kind of like, when you think about succulents, which is any plant that has succulent tissue, such as a living tissue that does temporary storage of utilizable water. So caudexes, big fleshy stems, fleshy trunks, fleshy roots, fleshy leaves, big water storage devices. Please remember they are not camels. Okay, camels are animals. They are not succulents, even though they have water storage capability in their fleshy tissues. It's not a succulent. All cactuses are succulents, but again, not all succulents are cactus.
That is one thing you remember from this presentation.
Yes, please remember camels are not cactus.
No, I meant all cactuses are succulents, but not all succulents.
Oh, yeah, that's
That's important. Mm-hmm. Camel part, not less important.
We will.
What if we Photoshop some spines and green onto the canvas?
We are going to get around to telling what is a fake cactus and succulent in another slide.
We have examples.
But that's a great example.
Yes. Yes.
Now, if you were to genetically engineer a camel to be photosynthetic and have you wouldn't even have to modify its hairs because they could become trichomes. You could conceivably then call a camel a cactus, or no, actually it would be a succulent. So yes, you could do that.
You might get classified as a bad scientist, but
you could make money off of it. So who cares? Succulents often use the crassulacean acid metabolism, otherwise known as CAM. That enables them to take up carbon dioxide from the atmosphere in the dark. It's kind of the reverse of what most plants do. And what that does is allows their stomata, that's their breathing tubes, that's their mouths, to not have all the moisture from the plant evaporate during the hot days. So in the cooler nights, it opens, it takes in the carbon dioxide, it releases the oxygen exactly backwards from the majority of plants out there, which, says a lot about the people who collect them. But yeah, that's kind of what it is. Areoles are where spines and the trichomes hairs originate from. So instead of pores on your genetically modified camel, you would have areoles. Flowers could potentially grow, branches can grow from those too. The cactus spines are actually modified leaves, whereupon some succulents, they usually have modified stems or leaf parts instead of modified leaves, which are the spines. Yep, that's pretty much all those. So let's go on to, and again, if your boss is upset that you bought them a cactus when they asked for a succulent, it's
time to move on.
It's time to move on. Find a new job.
Trade it in for a snake plant.
Yeah.
Message.
Yeah, pretty much. So here's one of the key things.
Yes. If your plant is plastic or human or AI made, it is most likely fake. Congrats, you can never kill it or potentially own it. If it looks too good to be true, or it looks like something you wouldn't find on the Discovery Channel or in Natural Geographic or anywhere else.
Have you watched the Discovery Channel lately?
I mean, was it all AI generated now?
It's like aliens.
Oh, no, that's a History Channel.
Oh.
Yeah, but anyways, look, not found in danger.
I mean, that figures out, right?
That's perfect.
I texted you that photo.
Oh, I heard you go off. Well, we're gonna have to add that to the presentation.
Before we
notes.
send it out. Yeah.
I mean, that's what they feel like on the inside, right?
Yeah. Now, all that being said, the middle bottom picture, all of those are real cactuses. So it looks AI because they're nice, bright, neon-y orange or red and green. Can you hit those? Yep.
Yeah.
But they are indeed real. What you're actually seeing is natural colors that live within the plants. They're not all green. Green just happens to be the one that comes through the most. And what you're seeing is, what are they called? The beta carotenoids is what you're seeing. It's the same effect that happens in the fall when the leaves turn from green to red and yellow. These are plants that are lacking the green chlorophyll, so they rely on other things that capture their energy. Now, a few of the really bright colored ones, like the orange and the bright reds, those you will see have been grafted because they have their coloration makes them such poor energy conducers that they have to have somebody else that they can live off of. They're basically parasites. So, but yes, and we brought some examples so that you could determine whether it's fake or real. Do you want to do those for us?
Yes. All right. So first one, real or fake?
Really fake.
It needs to be repotted. Does need to be repotted.
Getting that.
You're not saying ow, so I'm gonna go with
Yes.
Aww.
Cute little.
You can't see it, but I'll say it.
Oh, you can pass them around. Pass them around. That way they.
And they're finished.
So they're fidgets.
Yeah, so you just push them in.
Yeah, one pushes, the other spins.
No
That was spin.
Yeah, the other one spins.
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this also leads into another point about with
Did you
real
get
plants.
those on T-Man too?
No.
Those are really.
Those are awesome.
There's a gal that vends at plant meetings or peace and plants in Groveport. She sells them.
I'll have to check it out.
They're super cheap.
Really?
Mhm.
I started working from home, so now I have a desk and I sit there and watch training videos half the time. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, do you want to go get some of the stuff over there? Or one of the things over there? And we
Well,
can,
I'm not gonna pick them up.
why not?
Yeah,
How
you
else
were
are people
saying
I'm just gonna be like, point. Yeah. As for real things.
If you won't pick them up, they must be real.
Yes.
That's hilarious.
There we go.
But yeah, if you have a hard time determining whether or not something is real or not, ask, is this color found in nature?
And check for imperfections, because most
Yes.
real plants will have imperfections in leaves and other parts of it.
Yep. Most plants that you have that are real are not perfect. They will have something wrong with them. You're also going to want to check the texture of it. If it feels like plastic or wood or
Cloth.
cloth, it's probably fake. If it's really super squishy, like that thing, it's either fake or dead, right?
Or almost dead.
Or almost
Or
dead.
almost, yes.
But yes,
And if it never changes colors, even if you never water it, that might be a sign.
it might be a sign too.
Yeah.
Now, all of this being said, some cactuses and succulents do grow incredibly slowly. So you can have a real plant that doesn't change within your lifetime. Or at least within the memory that you can remember of your lifetime.
Yeah, but those like that are brown.
Yeah, those are more brown,
They
but
don't
there are,
grow anymore.
yeah, there are spray paint. But
Which
you-
is also a great segue to our next
Yeah.
slide.
Yeah, that is. But no, there are some plants that grow very, very slowly. Those are the type of plants where you may have to ask an expert if it's real. So variegation. You can indeed bleach your plants, but they will die. Okay. Variegation, and you'll see this a lot in the aroid world, like the philodendrons and some of the monsteras and stuff, where they will actually put radiation on the seeds to get the genetic mutations.
Wow.
However, most of those induced mutations are not stable, and they don't go beyond whatever that plant is unless you clone it. And even then, the clones usually are not stable. It can be a problem. So a lot of times that they will revert.
And you can use chemicals to cause mutations as well.
Yeah.
But like you said, they're not stable, and they could become weakened or die a slow painful death.
Yeah. Most cactus and succulent variegation is caused by selective breeding. And some of that can be kept true through propagation. Others, it reverts. There's a lot of snake plants in particular that if you see a beautiful variegation on the leaf and somebody says, oh, I'll give you a cutting of it, and you plant the cutting and then all of a sudden you get a green plant, it's because the variegation does not stay true. You have to wait for the plant to naturally offset. Most of that is because in a variegated plant, there's two kinds of tissue. You have your green tissue, which is the strongest of the tissue, and it's the one that makes all the energy, and it's the one that does most of the work. And your variegated, the white parts especially, or the yellows, they don't have any energy producers. They're just kind of pretty to look at. And so when you propagate a plant, the parts of the plant that actually generate the new growth and actually grow into a new plant are the green parts. So you lose your variegation.
Which means that they're affected by light and other current conditions.
Right. So if you have variegated plants, sometimes they will need more light to survive, but then you have to watch out that it doesn't burn. Because I don't know about y'all, but I am not a very variegated person. I have very pale skin, and my skin burns. It's just kind of like a plant that's variegated. The variegation plant parts can burn a little easier. But they're very pretty. They're very nice to look at. They're very sought after. They sometimes will grow slower than a fully green plant. If you have there's a doggo. Hi, Natalie's doggo. Natalie, or is that you, Natalie? Oh, no, there's Natalie. Hi. I lost my train of thought. Never mind.
Variegation.
Dog. Variegation. It's okay.
Yeah.
Variegation is cool stuff. There used to be a guy here at the club named Mike Walters. Do you remember him, Doug? He lived in Dayton. This man had like thousands of variegated plants. He did hostas, he did cactus, he did succulents. His whole thing was variegation. He had a world-class variegation collection. And then years ago, before COVID, I think, Dayton had a big tornado. And his house was hit, and 90% of his collection and his home was destroyed. And at the time, he was, I don't know how old he was, but his response when the club asked him if he was okay was he was okay, his family was okay, he had lost the majority of his collection, and he probably was not going to start over because of how old he was. And because he had so much other stuff that he had to start over from. Mm-hmm. And we understand that. Yeah. But to continue on with this stuff, again, legitimate questions.
Yeah, my kid got a living rock. Did the aliens give it to him? I went to the desert and saw an ugly plant. He said a cactus. And do succulents grow in trees?
Yes.
More at 11 tonight.
Yes. And this is indeed a living rock. It is not a cactus or a succulent. This is a living rock found in the ocean, made up of coral and sponges. So if you are around fish people, like Doug, and especially sea and saltwater fish people, unlike Doug, because I don't think you do saltwater, do you?
I used to.
Okay. Well, maybe even Doug. If they start talking about living rocks, please clarify with them. Are you talking about underwater corals, sponges, living rocks, or are you actually talking about plants that are living
I
rocks?
suppose you could have a rock covered in lichens, call that a living rock.
I guess you could too.
Yeah.
So you have to watch out for the mycologists and the fungi people too, and the lichen people.
Mosses too.
Yeah, the moss people too. I can't remember what
But
moss.
moss doesn't grow.
The bryophyte people.
I thought moss could be lithophilic.
But it doesn't grow on rolling rock.
Oh, not on a rolling rock, no.
So what do you do then with
It gets bigger.
what do you do then with the very moss ball people, where the moss balls that look like green rocks grow underwater in lakes in the Arctic?
I think you throw them with the fish people and have them determine the outcome of that.
Yeah, they don't grow in the Arctic. They grow in northern hemisphere lakes.
Yeah, cold water.
Cooler water.
Yeah, cold water, not the Arctic, that's true. Cold water.
So, and as Mouse is talking, living rocks are primarily succulents that grow barely above the surface of the ground and blend into the surrounding area.
There is a plant there. I
Yeah.
swear, there is a plant there.
That's a cactus.
Lithops, area carpets, Paleospilos are a few of the most common ones found in nursery.
It's an aerial carpus. That's what it's there.
That's that.
Oh, that's a cactus.
It looks like a cow patty,
Oh,
to be honest,
That's
but
really
it's,
It's
no,
like
no,
somebody-
it's,
somebody stepped on that board. Yeah.
it's actually a area carpus. If you ever watch Crime Pays but Botany Doesn't, that YouTube channel, he does a lot of desert cactus. He likes the weird things. He's done several of YouTube.
channel.
Yeah, called Crime Pays Botany Doesn't.
And this is not the candy you find on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, that's not candy. Those
Yeah.
are lithops. But he does a lot of stuff, and he does quite a few YouTube videos,
Shorts.
and a lot of them will have things that can be classified as living rocks. They're really fascinating. They're really fun to stage and have it. A lot of the collectors who do them grow them as if they were in their natural habitat. So they put like rocks and stuff in their containers. So when you grow into their greenhouses and stuff, it just looks like they're growing rocks. And it takes forever to actually realize that there's a plant. The good things about living rocks is most of them have really, really nice flowers.
Just watched a fascinating documentary. I don't remember what year they did. It's called Survival of the Fattest.
Oh yeah.
They did it in South Africa. It's these guys that go around and they go to the natural habitat of all these, and they find them out in the wild.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, it's about a 35-minute documentary. It's fascinating on YouTube.
On YouTube called
Yeah.
Survival of the Fattest.
Survival of the Fattest. Yep.
I'm gonna have to look that one up too. That sounds fun. Okay.
So, ugly desert plants. Just because it's in the desert and just because it looks ugly doesn't mean it's a cactus or a
Succulent. Yep.
Or succulent, yes.
Or real.
Or real. If it has teeth, it's not real.
Spines are not teeth.
Yeah.
Glochids are not teeth. So if you see something like that,
With humans.
it's probably from the same guy that did the camel. Do you want to? It's number 9.
Yeah. So plants that grow in the desert have special adaptations to survive. They may develop drought tolerance by having extensive roots, dropping leaves during times of drought, and narrow germination windows in various water storing areas such as stems, leaves, or roots. So they're very adaptable to live in those harsher environments than you might have for something that's just growing in your grass.
Yeah.
Also, plants growing outside are subject to their environment, so they may suffer damage due to the sun, animals, insects, weather, humans, or other random events that cause scarring and weird growth patterns. So whether it's climate change, humans doing weird things to the plants, or maybe they just got infected by a ton of ants or insects that just decide to devour something. I don't know.
Plants just look ugly.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're growing out in the desert, it's harsh. You're probably not going to be the prettiest looking thing around.
And survival is important.
And survival is very important.
That's true of the people too. Who live out in the desert.
I try very hard not to comment on human beauty standards because I have found people that care about me and want to live with me. And Vicky has found people that care and live with her. So, human beauty standards, I'm not going to judge. I will totally judge a plant's beauty standards. I will totally 100% judge them very harshly. And then I would probably say, it's kind of like dogs and cats. Like there are some really, really ugly dogs and cats out there, and they're usually the ones that everybody's like, oh, I want to adopt you, you're so cute. I mean, they have a contest called the ugliest dog in the world contest. And those dogs are just ugly, but you just want to pet them because they're so ugly, they're cute. I think some of the ugly plants are the same way. I've got a couple of really ugly things at home, and I love them.
So, succulents and trees.
Yep.
Yes, so succulents do in fact can grow in trees, not all of them do, but there are plenty that do make its way into trees. Many kinds of succulents are epiphytic and do grow in trees: Hoya, Ripsalis, Phylum, the German word, Schlum. Yeah, and Zygocactus.
Yes, you got that one.
Yeah, I got that one, or just a few of them. Yeah. There are some succulent orchids and tree plants that are also, I think I mentioned that in that.
Like ant plants.
Ant plants,
Ant plants can also be epiphytic, and those are, they can look like little tiny miniature trees, and because their codexes are where the ants live, or the spines and thorns are where the ants live.
Yeah. They can require more water and higher humidity, but it does not mean they enjoy being overly wet for long periods of time. Same thing with any succulent as well. You don't want to drown them in a ton of water. They often require less light, but can be ground mounted on the boards and other sources and do well in indoor spaces. So if your space is limited and you want to mount stuff on the wall or in a tree, in your inside, you can totally make it happen.
Yep. A lot of these will have more of a waxy cuticle in some cases, and like they said, they don't require a lot of water, but they make it up with higher humidity, so the plants can absorb a lot of the moisture from the air, and they require a lot more organic material in their soils, because think about where they live. They live either up in the trees, which, you know, dead things fall on the tree branches and you have leaves that fall on those, or if they have fallen from the trees and rooted in the soils. Most rainforest soils are very thin and are not very nutritious to live in, but they are high in kind of organic materials. So,
and they do not climb into the tree.
Yeah, they don't physically climb into the trees. They just kind of, the seed landed there and sprouted.
And then you get beautiful things like these.
And you get really cool stuff. Yep. In fact, some of the big epiphyllums will get so heavy that they will break the branches of the trees, and then they all fall to the ground.
So answers back to our questions. Aliens, do not give your kid a living rock. They most likely got it from a friend or some sort of plant dealer. Our suggestion is to have a talk with your kid about plant danger. Also, we did have to sign an NDA. We cannot confirm or deny the existence of aliens. But I want to believe.
Yeah, but we can say that your kid probably did not get their living rock from an alien.
But unless you live in Cleveland and you got some of that meteor, who knows?
Maybe that's how we get the camels.
They came in on the meteor.
And while it is often the case that ugly plants growing in the desert are indeed cactus or succulents, it's not always the case. There's lots of other different plants that grow out there. There's orchids that grow out in the desert. There's trees that grow out in the desert. There's all sorts of things that grow out in the desert that are not cactus and succulents. It just so happens that they happen to have a lot of ugly plants because it's a harsh growing condition.
They adapt to their environment.
They adapt to the environment.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's a lot of succulents that grow in trees. There are even several genuses of cactuses that grow in trees. Epiphyllums and Ripsalises are considered true cactuses. So Elsie, I have a question for you. Has your mom explained stranger plant danger to you?
Yes.
Okay.
I never have to touch this baby.
No, but what about plants? Strange plants.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most of the time she's like, we need to look up if it's poisonous or not before you can do it.
Yeah. Oh, who's that YouTube person that does the, is this poisonous or is this edible? thing.
That's she's local.
Yeah.
That's oh my God.
Yeah, there's a YouTube channel.
Is it
where
the
they-
Black Forager?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah. you gotta see
Yeah,
her.
she does like a little jingle about like, is this edible or is this poisonous?
Yeah.
Which one's gonna kill you?
Yeah. It's really great and like, and she's local. So,
Yeah, we have to look up that one thing.
Yeah. In fact, Crystal Edelman, she's been here to support me. She actually met the Black Forager
Oh,
in
yeah.
real life.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she said, I saw her in the wild. She was off doing a video, and I just got to stare at her. And I didn't want to, like, bother her or anything. So I just watched her from afar. And as Crystal was, like, telling the story, I was looking at her, and she goes, I came across as a stalker, didn't I? I'm like, yeah, you probably did.
a stalker?
Yeah. She's like, I probably did. She's like, I just sat there and just like.
Somewhere there's a video with some creepy weird person.
And a mushroom hat.
Yeah.
So yeah. So now we're going to talk about the care and maintenance of your plants.
all right, so some questions that we've encountered. I think my plants are cold. What kind of yarn do I use for new plant sweaters? What type of thermometer do I need to tell if my hot plant is, how hot my plant is, oral or rectal? And I'm allergic to beans, but I want to get golden goose. How hot do I need it to be to get my cactus to grow bigger?
I mean, in today's economy, magical beans that grow up into the air for getting golden geese is a viable economic plan to survive. But if you're allergic or you don't want to eat that many beans or grow that many beans, let's talk about your cactus.
So most cactus and succulents would look super cute in sweaters. They don't need them, and it would be a mess trying to get them to change into different ones. Because once you put it on, you're probably not getting it on.
Yep. Most plants don't actually sense temperature like animals do. It's more of a weather sensing mechanism that they do throughout the entire plant system through various heat-sensitive proteins. So when a plant senses that conditions such as light, temperature, moisture are correct, it will trigger their growth, dormancy, or reproduction flowering, or even tell it when it's time to die. And these proteins are found throughout the plant's body, so they can sense it not just in the soil from their roots, but up in their main part that's above the ground.
It's not like an animal where it's got like a central nervous system and a brain, and then has to wait for it to travel back.
No, it's all chemically done.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all chemical plants.
If you find a plant with a brain, run.
Go check to see if it has teeth first, and then run. The temperature range in which cactus and succulents grow is extremely wide and diverse. Most of them do best within a 60 to 80 degree Fahrenheit range, although there are some that can tolerate temperatures above 120 and below -30 within seasonal periods. There are plants that grow very high up in alpine regions and cactuses that grow in Death Valley. In fact, one of the major problems that Arizona and our western states are having right now isn't because their temperatures are very hot. It's because it's been very, very hot for an extended length of time, and the plants don't have the seasonal capability to recover from it, so they're actually dying of heat stroke.
They're running that cycle of it's really hot and then a little bit more.
Yeah, they haven't been able to recoup their water. They haven't been able to recoup a lot of stuff, and it's just like humans in extended heat. We can get heat stroke. We can keel over and die, and that's what's happening to a lot of the cactuses and stuff out west. And then you also have very, very sharp, very, very below normal peaks in the wintertime. And that's killing off a lot of plants too. It may not harm all their roots, but it's killing off the tops of them. But I mean, they do look cute in sweaters.
So to go back to the original questions plants do not have workers and would work with a standard thermometer, you'd be best served by getting one that measures ambient temperature, the humidity. Climbing up a cactus would be extremely painful to both you and the plant, which I'm suggesting you don't do.
Yeah, it's not worth the hassle. And even if you found one of the taller succulents, like the tree aloes, or some of the taller frankincense trees and stuff, they're not going to support your weight. You know, it's not really going to be worth you trying to climb up there, and they're not going to get tall enough. Let's see. You know what? We can't see what slide numbers we're on.
Yeah, and I think the numbers kind of blurred together, but it's okay.
I don't think they're that weird.
Okay.
Temperature tolerance also really depends upon the amount of moisture that a plant has been able to store and how long it goes between watering. Most plants, in fact, is it this one? Nope, that's a different one.
Yeah, that's the one.
Most plants can enter a state of dormancy or semi-dormancy when the weather cools down or gets overly hot, and they can only, they'll only start to grow when the weather is good for them.
And some plants can use cooler weather to trigger flowering.
Yep, so it's always best to check the species of your plant, try to figure that out, try to figure out at least the genus and where it's native to, and then base your growing conditions as much as you can on that. Now, there are some things here in Ohio that we will never be able to replicate. We are not elevated enough like the mountains. We're not up on Mount Everest. So we will never have the UV, the gravity, the thin air. We're never going to have that here in Ohio.
900 feet above sea level.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, trying to grow the alpine plants like they grow in the Alps, we're only going to do the best we can. You can also have, most indoor plants can only tolerate temperatures down to about 40 for a night or two, even with proper watering. You'll hear a lot of bonsai folks talk about watering all their outside trees before the first frost or before a heavy freeze, and that's because if your soil is moist, when the cold air hits, it doesn't pull all the moisture from your roots, it pulls it from the soil, so you don't freeze dry your roots. Freeze-dried roots are dead roots, for the most part. There's some plants that have weird antifreeze in their roots, but for the most part, you can't have them go dry.
And you can't use it in your car.
Yeah, don't use plant antifreeze in your car. But you kind of have to watch that too, because some plants, like a lot of the ones we grow here in Ohio, if they get too wet during the wintertime, they'll rot, because they're not active and they're surrounded by water. So it's kind of a thing you gotta learn.
And one of the things you can do is get a device that measures temperature and humidity levels to kind of keep an eye on things. We have one in our solarium thing that actually sends us text messages if it drops below a certain level. Well, I have it set to text you as well. Only if it drops below a certain threshold.
Lock it.
And if it goes over a certain threshold, so we can act and then change the environment accordingly. Like open a window or turn a fan on or something.
So next thing.
Yeah, so more questions. What kind of sunscreen do my plants need? Can I use 15 SPF or do I need 100 SPF? And is there a difference between the cream and spray sunscreen? How long do I need to stand with a flashlight at night to make sure my plants get enough light? I was told my plants are leggy. Does this mean I should enter it into a race? And I was told my plants like different frequencies of light. What radio station should I be playing from? So lighting conditions. Yeah, so lighting conditions can vary widely depending on what the plant is used to and what you can provide. You don't want to have a plant in complete darkness.
Unless it's dormant.
Unless it's dormant. That was the easiest picture to find for the slide. But you can have overhead artificial lights. You can use, sun. If you have windows, a lot of windows available in Redley. If you want to get artistic, you can put lights up inside it. I don't think it's really going to help it grow much, but it looks cute.
that works best for artificial plants, by the way. Taking the core of your cactus or succulent and inserting the light into it, while it looks aesthetically pleasing, is probably going to kill your plant in the long run. But I mean, if you want to make some cheap money, you can sell it as glow-in-the-dark plants. But most cactuses and succulents can provide their own sunscreen in the form of waxy coatings called cuticle, or in very fine white hairs called triceps. These adaptations help them reflect the sunlight and UV rays and can support moisture retention.
So it doesn't need your help with that.
Yeah, it doesn't need your help with it. You don't need to spray your plants with sunscreen. The majority of non-native cactuses, and by non-native I mean native here to Ohio, require much higher intensity of light and longer periods than most homes or unlit winterized greenhouses can provide during the fall and spring months. So your best option is, again, to look up where your plant is from and try to mimic those lighting conditions as much as possible with supplemental lighting like LEDs or halogen or fluorescent or whatever you want to do. And if you don't want to invest in grow lights and you still want to have a wide range of cactuses, look up ones that grow in lower light conditions, like Kaworthias. A lot of the tropical jungle cactuses are that way. Anything that grows understory to deserts, they'll say, well, this is an understory desert plant. It grows underneath such and such shrubs. All of those will need lower light situations. If your plant is not getting enough light, it'll become leggy, like that top one right there. While that looks super, super cool, and a lot of people will be like, oh, I want that, it's super cool, the plant actually is reaching towards the light. It's become etiolated, otherwise known as leggy, and that shape will never change. Even if you were to supply high intensity lights to that plant again, it's always going to have that shape. It may actually start to grow normally after that shape, and then you've got a long, tiny, skinny spot with a big thing on top, and it'll break off.
And succulents utilize the full light spectrum, not just blue or red wavelengths. So if you want to get lights that are best used for this, just a standard of white light you'll be sufficient with. While blue light promotes compact vegetative growth, essential for preventing etiolation, red light supports overall structure and stress correlation. But all wavelengths of the light spectrum, all the way from red all the way up to ultraviolet, are all useful to the plant.
Yeah.
So no radio stations.
So you don't need to worry about your frequencies of radio stations.
Can I ask a question since you're on this subject?
Yeah.
How important is the UV?
From what we can find out, it's only important if you're growing very, very high altitude plants. And then a lot of the people that we found that grow those and grow them successfully will get like the UVB bulbs from reptile people and use those. But that's them trying to grow the plant exactly the way it grows in nature.
I don't think UV is part of what is called PAR. PAR is photosynthetically active radiation. I think that's beyond the PAR range.
Mm-hmm.
So plants really don't need it. It just happens to be that the plants that live at high altitudes get a lot of UV. But they're also getting a lot more PAR too, because the atmosphere isn't filtering it out.
Well, the reason I was asking is because most of our modern windows block the UV.
Yeah.
And therefore, are they good or not good for growing plants?
They're not good for
They're not growing
plants.
plants.
They're not good for growing plants.
Because they're
Because
also-
of a double insulated window, it's terrible.
Yeah.
It's taking up most of the useful light.
Yeah. It's
Not just
taking,
the UV.
it's not taking away just the UV, it's taking away a lot of the stuff that the sun comes in that helps the plant's chemical stuff. That doesn't mean your plants won't live. It just means they're not going to
I always tell people, if you're a windowsill grower behind double pane insulated glass, then you need to move your plants outdoors during the summer.
Yep.
So they get a chance to get some energy and recover, and then they can sit all winter.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of the cacti are dormant in winter anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can go 4 months of low light and they'll be okay, but you gotta get them cool. You gotta get them hardened off, come warm weather, and get them outside so they don't exfoliate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you also have to, if they are dormant or semi-dormant, you have to adjust all the rest of the things. Like your watering is going to change, all of that's going to change.
You could open the windows.
Yeah, you can open the windows.
Yeah, let the light come through the screens.
Yeah. So some of your answers are just, you can save your money and move your plant into less light. You can get different kinds of supplemental lighting. You can look up plant lights and, get those. Your plants are not going to win any races. They don't have any actual legs. Just provide some additional lighting for them. And while there have been studies that say music can affect your plant's growth, that's going to be more for your enjoyment than their enjoyment. So just get the correct color of light for your plants. Just get a grow light or something like that for your plants. Don't worry about playing the radio unless you want to play the radio and run an experiment to see if your plants prefer Beethoven or AC/DC or heavy metal.
Or you just read a poem.
Or bagpipes, or reading the poem.
And I did figure out with, you can actually use shop lights and get, if you don't want to spend $60 on a grow light bulb, you can get 2700K to get the orange and red, and then get like a 5,000 or 6,000 K.
Yep.
That gives you your upper levels, and you can do that for about half the cost.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it works incredibly well.
Yeah, see, I don't even have supplemental lighting
I don't even.
in
Not anymore, anyway.
in my solarium. My plants just suffer through it.
But I did have grow lights at work to my windowsill because, as you both mentioned, it is a double insulated, double whatever.
Yeah.
It's like a corporate window, so it's got all the whatever filters blocking all out like most stuff. So I had a little grow light there on a timer, obviously, because not letting it run 24/7. But
yeah, you can also get those solar lights that people use in the wintertime to help their seasonal. Seasonal effects? Sad. Yeah. Yeah, you can also use those on your plants too. In fact, there's been a lot of studies that say that one of the benefits that people who suffer from SAD have from growing plants isn't just it is the light exposure from their grow lights.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just all the extra oxygen and the fact that you're tending a living being and all that stuff. It's actually you're getting grow light exposure yourself.
Red light therapy is very common now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
all right, so additional questions we've encountered. My cactus is scared of water. Should I invest in therapy or just throw them in the deep end? My plant came from a desert environment. Does that mean I should never water it? And I got a tropical succulent, and it's super thirsty. Is this normal? So the big age-old question: too much water or too little water? Lots of fun pictures, yeah. So some not so fun, some found yeah.
None of these are our photos, by the way.
Yeah.
We stole these. Although I do have stuff that looks like this now. So cactus and succulents, they are basically designed to store water and to grow under conditions where water is not always readily available or quickly drains away from their roots. A lot of jungle cactuses, a lot of cactuses that grow in coastal regions or things like that, even if there's not a lot of heavy rainfall, there is a lot of high humidity in the air, or they'll get things like fog or dew or other forms of water. They don't last very long. If you're growing high up in a tree, it's going to rain, but it's going to fall off your roots pretty quick. If you're getting fog and dew, you're only going to get that for hours during the day, maybe. You're not going to get it for the full day. Or you're just living someplace where it doesn't
If
rain.
it's marketed as indoor, due to their amazingly cool shapes or colors, and easy to care reputations, many folks tend to go towards either never watering or overwatering their plants.
Yeah, and overwatering is usually more common because things that are marketed as indoor plants are usually grown, mass marketed in the wrong soils, in a commercial greenhouse that is nothing like your house. One of the first things that you'll usually hear when joining a plant society is repot your plants. And it's because you need to get it acclimated to your growing things. And it's because it's grown with water and soil that's not appropriate to get it to look nice. Once it gets into your home, again, do some research, find out where it's at.
And you don't want to water it on like whatever schedule or however you're watering like your other non-succulent plants. You want to, this isn't due to them being hydrophobic, because they're used to growing conditions where the water passes or their roots quickly or for a very short amount of time. You can spritz them, you can pour a little in. There's many different methods for how to do that.
Soaking your plants, like I soak a lot of my plants and then I pull it out and just let the thing drain. The thing is you want your plants to dry out. You want the soil to dry out for the most part. Some plants need a little bit, but for the majority, your plants can dry out. And then just water them when they tell you. Plants are very good at telling you when they need water. They either go droopy or they die. It's one or the other. If you overwater a plant, what you're doing is you're starving its roots of oxygen because you've filled up too much of your soil pockets with water, or you're literally overwhelming your plant and drowning it. Humans don't like to be thrown into a pool with nothing but water. If you can't reach the other side, you're going to drown. Your plants can do the same thing.
About bottom water, stick the thing in.
Yeah, I do that.
Yeah.
I just go.
How long do you leave them in? Assuming that you're sure that they are dry.
If my plants are completely dry and they're shriveled because I have left them too long, I will let them soak for up to a week.
Really?
But then I will hang them, let them completely dry out, and ignore them for 4 to 5 weeks. But that's me, and that's in the winter time. When my plants are semi-dormant anyways. A lot of my plants, I try to only let soak for 24 hours, if that. Sometimes it's just an hour or two. If it's on a regular schedule and I'm keeping up with it, it'll be like an hour, and that's it. But if I haven't been in there for 4 to 5 weeks, I'll let it sit, because I'm lazy. And a lot of my stuff is very, very fast draining soil. And they're not like soaking underwater. It's soaking with like maybe that much, and it's absorbing it. And mine are jumbo, so it's a little different.
And this leads into the type of container or mount your plant grows in. It can also impact how much you need to water as well.
Yeah, if you have glazed ceramics or plastic pots, they're going to trap moisture inside the pot, so it's going to stay there longer. If you've got a porous material like a concrete or a hypertufa or a terracotta, or you've got it mounted, it's going to whip that water away so much faster than if it wasn't there. Or mesh pots. I have a lot of mesh pots too. And I basically just pick them up and the water goes swoop and it's gone.
And signs if you're water. So the underwater was the brown, brittle, and shriveled up. The overwater was brown, mushy, and may expand or burst.
Yeah, you can. If there have been instances, even in the wild, where cactuses can get too much water too fast, and they literally kind of, and you'll see scars along the ridges, and it's because they've expanded too fast. Again, ugly plants.
And then our answer slide, getting a water for your precious plant just right is important, but it doesn't have to be perfect. If you make a mistake, if you forget a day, you're off on your watering schedule, your plant has some grace. It's not going to immediately die if you're not watering exactly every so many days in the way you've been doing it for years. Use a spray bottle to mist your water, or plant can work if the plant's used to regular but short bursts of water. You can also wick water or fully submerge, as we mentioned, or using a water meter or timer to determine when water can go a long way to help make you feel more comfortable.
Or you can use an Oya. I started to use Oyas.
And while your plant may have come from a desert, it didn't survive without water. It needs water. You can look for signs such as the shriveled skin, or to tell when it needs a good drink.
Yeah, sometimes, like if Christmas cactuses do this a lot, and some other barrel cactuses, you can literally watch them kind of compact, and the spaces between the ridges gets a lot narrower. And with Thanksgiving cactuses and Christmas cactuses, you can actually feel the leaves are thinner. It goes from like a thick, like leather feel almost, to like a very thin paper feel.
And then our tropical succulents tend to like the higher humidity, but this doesn't always mean they need more water poured into the soil. Try a mister or humidifier to your plant area and see if your plant becomes less thirsty.
What's an Oya?
An Oya is usually a terracotta jar or tube or something that you put into the soil and then you fill it with water. People use plastic 2-liter bottles for it, and you punch holes in it and stick it in there. I have actually found, or I'm currently experimenting with mounting a lot of my plants on Oyas and then keeping them filled with water so that, again, I can be lazy and not water for 4 to 7 weeks. But I've also started sticking smaller ones into some of my bigger plants to keep them there.
Our questions. The internet told me that my cactus doesn't like a lot of organic material. Does that mean cactus is bad for the environment?
Yeah.
I hear cactus like rocks. Should I apply AC/DC to my plant? And I know soil should be made up of different particle sizes. Where do I acquire some big bosons?
That's pretty advanced nerdiness right there.
So most soils suitable for cactus and other succulents are going to have multiple particle sizes, are very fast drying, and have various levels of organic material. Again, where does your plant come from? If it's in the tropical region, it will tolerate a lot more organic material than something from an alpine region that grows in very rocky, low organic soil. Different particle sizes allows for both water and air to be trapped around the roots. It helps the plant develop a strong root system by providing spaces for larger and smaller roots to grow if your plant grows smaller roots. And knowing where your plant comes from, like I said, it really determines what it is. So plants that
Matter
grow.
whether it comes from Home Depot or Walmart.
That would have been a good one to add on here.
So we do allude to the box stores.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
yes, I like that.
We'll have to remember that one. If it's growing directly in rocks or on gravel beds or areas that have low alpine regions, like some deserts, cliff sides, you don't need as much organic material. Some of them will even require extra calcium or minerals found in the rocks that they grow. Again, the guy that does crime pays that botany does it, he likes a lot of the really weird soils, like the gypsum soils and I'm trying to remember what the volcano soils are. Pumice soils. The name of the landscapes, Karthik or whatever, landscapes, he does a lot of that stuff too. So sometimes you have to add extra minerals. So chicken crit, crushed or aged granite, crushed oyster shell, pumice, perlite, vermiculite, or other rocky materials can add water pockets and improve drainage. But things like jungle cactus and succulents, they grow in a much higher organic, but usually thinner mineral-based soils and media. So using materials such as coconut coir, sphagnum moss, horticultural charcoal, or compost with just enough inorganic material to keep the water flowing will keep your plant happy.
And you never want to go overboard on like one material and just put it in 100% one of those things. You kind of want to like mix it up a little so it has that variety.
Yeah, you want to give a variety. It's kind of like food. You don't want to like give your plant nothing but mashed potatoes. I mean, mashed potatoes are great, but plain mashed potatoes every single day is going to get boring. All that being said, there are plants that are very, very specialized in what they grow in. And some of those plants will require a pure growing material of whatever they grow in. Those are usually plants that are also very expensive to buy or are legally protected and you cannot go out and harvest them. So if you find one, you got to start asking.
To the club.
Don't bring it to the club. Or start asking some serious questions about where they got the plant from.
And then our answers, going back to the original question, soil is important. Knowing where your plant came from is important. Refreshing your soil on a regular basis is also helpful in keeping your plant healthy. Rocks, not rock and roll, but the geological kind are a great way to add drainage, minerals, and air spaces succulents crave. Every plant looks good with a cool rock. So you can use it for decoration, or you can use it in the soil. And your plant is already made of Higgs boson, so no need to acquire anymore.
Yeah. And yeah.
I had a question.
Yeah.
You transplant it.
Uh-huh.
The soil that you're taking your plant out of,
Uh-huh.
can you reuse that?
Yes and no. So,
Well, that's so definitive.
well, here's the thing. Is the soil incapable of supporting life? No. It still can support life. However, depending upon how old that soil is, it might be completely drained of anything that's useful to support your plant.
It's like the nutrients.
Like a lot of nutrients and stuff like that in there. A lot of people will refresh the soil and add extra things to it to make it healthier, but it's not necessarily bad.
I recycle a lot of mine. When I grow cactus in, when I repot the cactus, I reuse that soil for growing aloes.
Mm-hmm.
Most of your aloes are not very
Okay.
fussy.
Yeah.
But then I'll rejuvenate the soil by adding new compost or something to it too. So
Yeah. But it's not
So I
like,
can mix part of the old stuff.
you can mix
with
part of
some
the,
new stuff.
yeah, and it's
Or I
fine.
could put it where my 2 tomato plants grow.
Yeah, you could do that. I mean, I throw all of my old soils on my compost pile. And it also depends on how long your plant has been in there. So like there's been times when I've had to replant a pot within a year because the plant either grew too much or I broke the pot or I found something better or whatever. And I'll keep that soil because it hasn't been that long. Kind of like the 5-second rule when you drop food on the floor. You know, sometimes you
When
just,
you drop it on your carpet, you're vacuuming it up.
yeah, it's like, you know, sometimes you feel the need to throw it away. Other times you just kind of rinse it off and eat it anyways.
I'll repasteurize the soil too if I'm reusing it.
Which
I'm
is,
baking it, sterilizing it.
oh, okay.
Yeah, especially if you've got pests.
Well, you gotta think too, if you've got, like a lot of my soils are like 75% inorganic, you know, so I've only got 25% organic matter in that soil. So, I mean, they're not gonna break down. So I just, you know, I use organic fertilizers. So I just sprinkle a tiny bit of fertilizer in there and pop it right back in, you know, because they're, I mean, if it's a desert style cactus, I mean, they're growing 100 years in a soil that's infertile anyway, you know, so as long as you got drainage for them, they'd be fine. But yeah, the tropicals, I mean, that's like growing a house plant. You gotta
watch it.
Yeah, you gotta replace that soil and all that. So
And pH is really important too, that the soil ages, and it depends on what kind of water you're using. If you're using
yeah,
hard well water,
yeah,
then your pH is going to increase to a point where the plant will no longer absorb nutrients.
Yep.
So you have to buffer the pH back down to acidic level, and one way to do that is by adding fresh soil with fresh organics in it, which there's more pH.
Yeah, there's a plant I got from Bruce, who got it from Henry Fisher, who was one of our founding members when Henry died back during COVID. And Bruce had a bunch of plants, and we got rid of them mostly last fall. And I picked up one, and I said, Bruce, how long has it been since this thing's been repotted? Because it's really an ugly plant. I like it. And I said, Bruce, how long has this been potted? And he says, well, I never repotted it. And he's like, this looks like native soil. He's like, I think Henry, who was a geologist for the state of Ohio, and he traveled everywhere. Like, he was a big rock person too. And he traveled everywhere. And back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, before they did a lot of the regulations, he would collect plants from the wild. And so Bruce was like, I think this is a wild dug thing, and this might be the original soil that Henry had it in, and just, Bruce didn't repot it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting here staring at this going, okay, this is now a legacy plant.
Right. Can I kill it?
Can I kill it? Exactly. Can I kill my plant? So I'm now like having this big debate on what do I do with it.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see.
Well, like I had a ponytail palm that I accidentally left outside too long and it got froze, but in 17 years I repotted it 2 times.
Yeah.
But you fertilize.
Not really. They just, they hold everything's in the codex, so a lot of the caduciforms, like you might leave them in their same pot there for 20 years.
Yeah.
Until they get too big for the pot.
Until they break the pot.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll even eventually crack the pot, and then you gotta pot them up, but I would never mess with the root ball. I would just take it out, maybe trim off a couple outside roots, and then pop it down in the new pot that's like an inch bigger around, because they don't mind being, there was one I saw at Kingwood Center. They had one that, I think their greenhouse was about this tall, and so the ponytail palm almost touched the ceiling, and it was in a pot about this big.
Yeah.
And you couldn't see any, it was just the pot, the tree was in. So it depends a lot on the species, but I would say the more organic matter, the more inorganic matter, the less concern there is of cleaning it up. Yeah.
Yeah. I had a ponytail palm. I got it sometime after COVID because we were in the new house, and this lady was advertising it pretty much for free on Facebook Market, and it's about as tall as I am, maybe a little taller. And it was in this pot that was about 2 feet tall,
Oh my gosh.
about 1.5 feet wide, and heavy as heck.
Mm-hmm.
But you could hear sloshing in the pot.
Mm-hmm.
So I got it home, left it for a year, didn't water it, didn't do anything. Repotted it the next year with some friends, and as we went to go lift the plant up, it literally came up and it had no roots, and it had started to rot at one of the corners. And so we were like, oh, because the lady said she had had it for like 30-something years.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just in regular potting soil, which was really concerning. And you could still hear it sloshing, even though I hadn't watered it for about a year. And when we were taking all the soil and stuff out, she had put in the pot to help weigh it 2-liter bottles. And had kind of crushed them a little bit, but had left the lids off.
It was full of water.
And they were all full of water. And she had like styrofoam bits in there, and she had some bricks and like just crazy stuff. Well, it had rotted this plant's roots, had started to rot the codex, but you never would have noticed it from the actual plant. Like, you wouldn't have known, because the plant was still green and it looked really healthy. So I ended up getting a little 16-inch, not even that wide or that tall of a pot, put pure chicken grit and crushed oyster shell in it, threw it in there, let it sit for a couple of years, and just this past fall, when we were moving everything back into the solarium, I picked it up and it came up with the pot. And I was like, oh, it's finally got some roots. So we got a small oval horse trowel, drilled holes in it, put pure organic. Actually, no, it's not pure organic. I added some biochar and some mycorrhizal stuff to it. But it's sitting in there, and it is now the only plant I cannot lift.
Oh, sure.
And it will stay in there.
It's basically growing in gravel.
It's basically growing in gravel.
Yeah.
It's in a wider, it's in too wide of a pot, but I'm not too concerned about it because it's not going to get watered except for rain and whatever. And it's very high draining and everything's healed up. But it's going to stay there until it dies. It's on wheels, and it will get wheeled out right outside the solarium and wheeled back in. But yeah, I don't intend on ever changing that. No, it's just going to sit and grow.
All right, more questions.
Oh yeah. So fish is a great fertilizer. So how much do you have to chop up your sardines? Cactuses like a lot of nitrogen. Should you invest in some whippets? Elsie, just ignore that part. And which Pantone color would you need to fix your discolored cactus? Yep. So we're talking about fertilizer. So actually, a lot of cactuses and succulents, you don't need a lot of nitrogen for them. If you get too much nitrogen, it can actually speed up the growth too fast, and the growth will get weak and leggy. It can burn their roots. You may not get as much flower production. All that being said, some plants that have higher nutritional needs, if you don't give them enough fertilizer, they can be too slow to grow, they won't produce flowers, or they'll just keel over and die. And while fish emulsion is good for plants, and please note, fish emulsion can clog small porous stuff. So if your soil has very small particle sizes and you put straight fish emulsion on it, one, your house and wherever you have your plants will smell like dead fish.
And your cats will love it.
Your cats will love you. Wild animals might love you. But it's going to smell like dead fish, and you're going to clog the pores in your soil. So be careful with fish emulsion. Make sure it's diluted enough. You can chop up sardines and kind of put water and make a fish slurry.
It would smell good.
It's going to smell horrible. You'll attract neighborhood wildlife, which, maybe that's a good thing for you, but it's not really anything you would want to do. And then you would have to buy water-based sardines or fresh sardines because oil would just kill off your plant. It's better if you just take the sardines and eat them. Most plants, like I said, prefer a lower nitrogen-based fertilizer, such as a 5-10-10 or a 10-10-10. That's your nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Usually, most of them are not heavy feeders unless they're getting ready to bloom, and only need fed during active growing periods. You can think about different kinds. You've got liquid fertilizer, which most of that you would do whenever you water or every other time you water. And most succulents, you look at the package and it says, 1 cup per gallon. So you're going to want to cut that to about 1/8 of a cup or 1/4 of a cup per gallon. If you use a granular fertilizer in your soil, those are usually slower to release. It's kind of harder to determine how much fertilizer your plant is getting if you mix it into your soil, unless you are the type of person that measures everything to a T. I am not. I just throw crap together and go, I think this feels right.
It's like cooking.
It's like cooking. But if you can follow recipes, by all means use granular stuff. Inorganic-based fertilizers is usually cheaper, faster to absorb, and more precise. But you are going to have to watch that you don't get too much of it because it can burn your plants.
And then organic fertilizer can be more expensive, slower to absorb, And smell funny, but run a lesser risk of burn.
Yeah, unless you're using like fresh cow and horse manure, which more power to you. Most people like it to compost a bit before you use it, so it doesn't smell. But you know, as my father said when I was younger, and we would drive in the country during the spring, smell that fresh country air, especially when we passed a farmer's field that just had a bunch of manure spread on it. So you know, maybe you like that nostalgic stuff. And whippets are not good for plants.
For people.
Or people.
Fertilizer isn't required to grow a successful plant, as we mentioned, but it could definitely help out. If you have a good soil, the proper water and lighting, as we've discussed a little bit of all that, you shouldn't have to add a fertilizer. It's not like fertilizer, there's a fertilizer genie out in nature that's just spritzing plants.
You know, most plants are lucky if an animal shits near them. You know.
Not my condo.
Yeah.
Like we mentioned, sardines might provide too fishy of an experience. Nitrous oxide might sound fancy, but your plants will likely to prefer to keep it at bay. Just as with humans, too much of a good thing can be very bad. Your plant may eventually become discolored. That may be okay. One way to help with that is utilize a little fertilizer designed for succulents. You also want to check for pest diseases or your watering and lighting conditions.
Yeah, if your plant changes color, there's usually something wrong with your care. And unless you really like the shape of your dead plant, you usually don't need to have paint on it. There are
paint question.
Yeah, you can. You will often see in big box stores plants that are like have been spray painted or have glitter on them. What they've effectively done for those plants is remove the plant's ability to photosynthesize. So you are buying a pretty corpse, is what you're buying.
Just because it looks cool in the big box store, it doesn't.
Yeah, that's why I don't like people doing that.
Yeah, it's really annoying. It's pretty, but really annoying.
Yeah.
Talking about color,
Yeah.
they talk about when your plant is stressed, sometimes it gets lovely shades of red and
Mhm.
bad, good, or just the way it is, and if I like it until the plant dies.
It's kind of a catch-22, really.
Yeah, it can be either or. I mean, it depends on the plant. Sometimes if they're turning red, they're getting burnt by too much light.
Not my house.
Sometimes if they turn red, it also means they're getting a healthy amount of light and that they're just making the pigments to protect themselves from the light. So
Yeah, it just depends upon your plant, really. And
if you burn the plant, if it turns red, and then if it's burnt severely, then those red areas will eventually die. So they turn brown and be sort of crispy, you know.
and scar, you'll
Be
get
scarred,
scar tissue.
right.
Yeah, if it's something like a seasonal coloration or a protective color, if you remove the heavy light, it'll eventually fade back into like the green and stuff. A lot of people, when we looked at that question online, it was kind of like, if you like it, grow it that way. Just understand that your plant is stressed and it is protecting itself.
With a lot of plants, like if you move them from your windowsill outdoors in the spring, you need to shade them first and let them gradually get used to the full light. With Echinopsis cactus, I can look at them and you can see they'll turn pale first as they're getting too much light. Because they're starting to bleach, they're getting too much light. And so then you know to cover them up or to move them to a more shaded position. If you let that bleaching continue, then they'll eventually scar. Yeah, it's just a matter of observing them very closely on a day-by-day basis and seeing what they're telling you.
Yeah, if they're still actively growing,
If they're
and
green and they get greener, then you're doing something right.
or you have them stressed red and they're still actively growing, they're probably okay. But if it's a bad stress, it's, your plant will tell you. Again, it'll either, wilt and look scar and grow ugly, and you can enter it into the ugliest plant competition and win, or it'll die. I mean, it's going to tell you.
So what I can tell you is, on my home orchids, if they're short on water, they'll turn sort of dark color and then they'll turn slightly purple. You re-water and they come back and they're back to green. On the other hand, the things we call Thanksgiving cactuses,
Yeah.
you give them too much light, they'll turn purple. And they really don't want to grow. They just sit there. It's too bright for them because they're an understory epiphytic something or other, and they don't want that much light, and they turn purple.
Yeah, I have one now that I turned purple over the summer, and it is still purple. It wants to flower, but then I dehydrated it too much, so I don't know what's gonna happen with it. I got it for free, so I'm not really heavily invested. These are, Doug did an excellent presentation last month on pests, so just your basic stuff, raid, and if you have scale, if your plant has scale, how do you measure it? Yeah, it's not. You can try to use raid on your plant. We don't recommend it. For one thing, your plant does breathe just like humans, so you'll probably kill it, but you can try it. I mean, you can try everything once, see what happens.
Doesn't raid have some oil base that makes it stick to things?
Yeah, it does. It's got
Probably
some.
really bad for a plant.
It also depends on which plant. Like Hoyas hate neem oil. You can't use neem, meal, or neem oil on Hoyas. They hate it. It's poisonous to them. So, but by all means, try it. Like I said, you can try anything once. You can, it's always best to use a plant-safe pesticide. You can make your own version. My version involves isopropyl alcohol, neem oil, and some sort of plant-safe soap. But again, check to make sure that your plants won't be killed by neem oil.
And then scales are measured in grams or ounces per weather and how many of them you see. And they're tiny little bugs in your plant. They're not good for the outcome of your plant.
Yeah, if your plant has pests and you want to learn how to get rid of them, see our recorded video of Doug's presentation last month. He went into far more detail than what we want to do.
Yeah, it's not snow on your plant.
Yeah, it's not snow, it's mealies.
Or it could be cochineal.
It could be cochineal. In which case, if you want to learn cosmetics, you can make your own lipstick and rouge out of it. And you might be able to team up with a local person who is into all natural cosmetics and dyeing, and maybe they will pay you money for it. But you will sacrifice the health of your plants. And it makes it, usually the opuntias that the cochineals will grow on are also some of the best ones to eat. So you won't really be able to eat your plants either.
Well, that's not true, because one of our red dyes, one of our red food dyes comes from.
Right, but what I'm saying is, like, it's not going to be a very pleasant experience to eat a cactus pad that's covered in
Oh, no, you squash them first, then you got purple cactus.
Maybe it'd be like green eggs and ham.
Yeah.
It's an acquired taste. Or there used to be.
Go to the Mexican grocery store.
Yeah. There used to be a book I read when I was a kid, all about this chef who catered to picky eating kids, and he would take the kid into the back room, talk to them, and then the kid would come out, and then he would make like blue broccoli and purple peas so the kids would eat it. And I always thought that was a very strange book, but I can't remember the name of it. And looking back on it, I'm like,
Let them starve.
let them starve.
Yeah. So our next section, unexpected chaos.
And as you can see, this is what AI does if you tell them cats and succulents, ultimate chaos in the universe. That's what it does.
Wow.
I like it.
I like it too.
So, should I go to the emergency department or ER if I have fallen on my cactus bed? I'm dairy intolerant. Is cactus milk a good substitute? And I'm a klutz. How close should I keep my first aid kit to my garden?
Put it in a feeding tub.
Exactly. While it is always going to be slightly uncomfortable to fall into your bed of cactus, unless you are having an allergic reaction or you have cactus spines or blockage in sensitive areas, or have more than 75% of your body covered.
So 74% you're A-okay.
Yeah. You usually don't have to go to the ER or emergency department if you fall into your cactus bed.
Should you invest in good tweezers?
Yes, you should invest in some good tweezers or strong tape or Elmer's glue. There's a lot of things online that people do to remove these things. So you can, if you're like me, I just use tweezers, and the rest of them I just kind of go like this, and they eventually fall out of my skin at some point. You can also, some people have used little bits of a lighter and burnt them off. We don't recommend that method, but I have seen people do it. We do suggest to buy tongs, very sturdy tongs. Do not buy tongs from Amazon unless it says incredibly sturdy, because I bought some off of Amazon. They were like $5 for a 3-pack. They're useless. They couldn't even pick up a potato chip.
And if you're going to grill with them, don't use them on your cactus.
Yeah.
Keep those separate.
Yeah, keep your cactus tongs separate from your food tongs. You can buy heavier duty gloves, welding gloves, or you can just grow plants that don't have spines and blockades. Having assistance when transplanting, using a paper wrap to hold your plants, keeping your plants top dressed and your garden beds weed free is a key component to not getting poked when tending to your plants.
And the most important part, do not drink the cactus milk. It's poisonous.
Well, here's the thing. Most plants that have milk are euphorbias that people think are cactuses, and that milk is actually, I think it's kind of a latexy based thing, and it's poisonous. It may not kill you, but it's going to be very uncomfortable to you and probably everybody around you. It's just not a good idea to be drinking cactus milk, because it's not really cactus milk, it's euphorbia milk. Don't drink it.
So if there's 2 things you learn from this presentation, this is number 2.
Yeah, do not drink the cactus milk. If you don't know if what you have is
Edible?
don't do it. Ask an expert. Most cactuses have edible body parts, like fruit. Most cactus fruit is edible. It may not taste very good, but it won't kill you. Euphorbias and some of the other succulents, on the other hand, will give you a bad experience or kill you. So just don't drink it. Don't even, just don't. Rule of thumb, go ask an expert. But yeah.
And then most danger plants are plants that are endangering you, or plant lovers keep a first aid kit nearby, or at least in a known location. Don't leave it hidden under the sink and forgot about it, and then you're like looking for it, and you're like, oh my gosh, where is it? You need a Band-Aid or something. If you're prone to accidents or have balance issues, you may want to put the basics in a fanny pack and carry it around at all times, or employ a home nurse whenever you drive.
Whichever is more suitable for you. And the important thing about keeping it nearby or in a known location, if you live with people, tell them where you keep it.
Yes.
Because if you fall into your cactus bed and hit your head, while you don't necessarily have to go to the ER because of cactus spines, you may have to go for your head being hit. And if you don't know what's going on, the people in your house that you live with, or even maybe close neighbors, should know where your first aid kit is.
And if you require an EpiPen, make sure that the people that you know or you live with know where it's at too.
Yes, yes.
Because if you fall in your cactus bed, there happens to be a few bees hanging around, and you fall on them, you might have a worse story.
Yes. That may or may not have ever happened.
All right. Additional questions. Hypothetically, if I was caught prop lifting, how much time would I serve? I've heard of plant societies, some sort of cult, and I went to a library, but I didn't see any free plants. Or did I go wrong? And are freebies worth the money I paid for them? And this was also AI generated.
Yes, that's AI generated. We didn't spend any money on this presentation, but yeah, that's not. And if you don't know what prop lifting is when you go someplace, usually a big box store or some other plant nursery or someone's house or their yard, and you somehow magically get a cutting in your pocket or in your fanny pack
Look,
or
it
your
fell right in my
purse.
pocket.
Yeah, or it fell into your purse or your carry bag or something like that. It's when cuttings magically attach themselves to you after being at a plant store or a big box store or a nursery or someone else's house or gardens. Especially as you are walking along the sidewalk and they happen to brush up against you,
And
like
you're
your
well,
legs,
I guess it's with me now.
and it just magically goes from brushing up against your ankle to being in your pocket. That's what prop lifting is.
As in propagate lifting, right?
Yeah, propagate lifting.
You mean you see little leaves that have fallen off?
Yeah.
If it's on the floor, you're just helping them clean up.
Right. But you're prop lifting.
Yeah. All right. So our answers.
While prop lifting is not considered a crime by many people, it can be prosecuted as shoplifting if done from a place of business, even if it was on the ground. There are
Home Depot.
there are misguided people who would consider it shoplifting. If done at someone's residence or at other place of business, it can also be considered theft, depending upon the value of the plant. You can be prosecuted. You can also potentially, if this was someone's home or their yard, they can prosecute you, and if done with the wrong people, they may come after you. Because we all know that there's really strange people out there in the world, not just us who are nice people in our nice little cult society. You don't want somebody coming after you.
And when in doubt, just ask.
Yeah, just ask. Most gardeners are very happy to trade. Most of them are very happy just to give you something. Most of them are just like, yes, please, I have to trim my plant. Just take as much as you want. Or, oh my God, I went on a propagation spree and now I have 50,000 things. Or my thing did some seeds and now I have 20,000 seedlings. That
didn't happen with us in tomatoes.
No, that never happened with us in our 10,000 tomato plants. Most typical libraries do only deal in books. However, you now have some libraries, especially here in Columbus, that will have seed catalogs that you can get seeds from, or they have tool libraries where you can actually rent out garden tools and return them to the public libraries. You also hear of plant libraries. There's one at Yellowwood Farm. There's one in Delaware, Marysville, Gahanna. I think the Westerville one is still active. That was on private property and she moved, so I'm not quite sure. And there's one in Reynoldsburg. Some of them actually have physical locations where you can drop off plants, you can drop off anything garden related, pots, tools, strange artwork that came from Temu, and you have no idea how it happened. cool rocks, and you just leave them there and you walk away, and other people come and take them. Or, you can take stuff and leave stuff. So those places do exist, but if you walk into a regular book library, the majority of them just deal in books. Some of them will have seed libraries, some of them will have tool libraries.
And when you check them out, they're not going to have a return date of 21 days.
No, some of the seeds you can just keep. Plant societies are not cults. We try really hard to make sure that people understand we are not a cult. We have a lot of cult-like tendencies. We are very enabling when it comes to spreading the good word of whatever plants we happen to be invested in. We do hold little ceremonies around plants, repotting days, special days where we go out and prophesize how wonderful our plants are.
Have you heard about cactus?
Yeah, have you heard about, the benefits of growing opuntias in your yard for the end times? We do have a lot of these types of conversations. Some of us decorate our plants and put them in special areas within our homes where we devote a lot of time and energy to maintaining and their well-being. That can look like worship, but we are not a cult.
Coming to this meeting for help in problem cactus succulents, it's like going to an AA meeting at a bar.
Yes, but that's not a cult. That's not a cult.
Yeah, 'cause you can leave at any time.
We do
Very
not.
supportive friends with bad decisions.
Yes, but it's not a cult. We do not kidnap people. We do brainwash people, but we don't inhibit. We do a lot of things that are cult, but we're not a cult.
I do want to back up a second because we do have a thing on here that's really important about the it's not really crop lifting, but it's related. It's highly discouraged to seek out and take plants directly from the wild without proper knowledge and permits, especially rare or native species. So if you don't know what you're doing and you go out in the woods and you're like, this looks cool, I'm going to take it, you might wander accidentally on the private property, or it might be a protected species or something. So it's always best to talk to someone who is an expert or knows the land or knows where you're at. Actually, you should always let someone know where you're at if you're wandering in the woods like that.
Yeah, don't drive 3 hours down to Kentucky, crash your car in the middle of winter and have to call your mom and have her drive to pick you up, and pray to God that the tow truck driver that picked you up really will take you to a gas station along the highway. Don't ever do that. It ends well, but you learn a life lesson. But yeah, Vicki is right. If you are out and about in the desert, in the wild, don't take the plants unless you have the proper permits or you know what you're doing. You can get into a lot of serious trouble.
And some more questions. Help, my horse ate my cactus. Should I induce vomiting? Caffeinophobia blood to my hamster gave it superpowers. My child pooped in a planter. What should I do? And I really love this. As far as I know, it wasn't AI. It was just Photoshop or something, but could be AI generated. But it was cute. We found it on Google. I love it.
Yep. So your answer was no. Most horses, cats, and dogs, they can't really safely ingest a lot of your succulents. It's not recommended to grow. It is also not recommended for pet-safe plants because the plant normally dies. So even if you have a pet-safe plant, like most of my Ripsalises are fine. My Hoyas aren't. My Euphorbias are not. But my Epiphyllums, most things they can eat, but your plant's going to suffer. And
it's not going to like being.
It's not going to like being eaten. And if it's a cat, it'll probably puke it up anyways.
And speaking of cats, our special mention of Pogo, our cat.
Yeah, that's
caught him
Pogo.
on the table, and he gave me the most strongest stink eye I've ever seen a cat give me.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, that's Pogo judging us for not allowing him to eat the plants. Feeding succulent juices, especially euphorbias, to your hamsters will not give it superpowers. Euphorbias will actually kill them. Please don't kill hamsters with your plants. People already think we're a cult. We don't need to be known as the hamster killing cult. Okay? We suggest, find a radioactive spider, a friendly alien to help give your hamster superpowers if you really want the superpowered hamster. Beyond those you already possess. And again, we will not confirm or deny the presence of aliens. The NDA was very strong, and we want to continue.
but we didn't have a clause about us mentioning it.
Yeah, we can mention it. We just can't confirm or deny. Most children will often enjoy the company of being around pets and being around your plants. But your child is usually much bigger and stronger than the plant, and it can accidentally injure or even kill the plant during playtime. Unless your pet child can learn to safely interact with your plant, usually watching them, guarding the plant from intruders, potentially eating the pests that grow on your plant, providing fur such as wool that you can put into your soil to provide some fertilizer and help retain moisture, things like that. You really should monitor all of your child pet's interactions with your plants. So, be safe around them. And if you're really paranoid or you think your pet is stupid enough to try to eat your plants, don't grow toxic plants. Simple as that. Most people would prefer to have their pet than their plant or child. We don't have children, so we can only go by what cats and dogs
Pogo
do.
would beg to differ.
Pogo is not our child. Pogo is our overlord.
Oh,
With that look, I would agree.
yeah.
So when Cricket was alive, Cricket was the supreme overlord of the house. The minute Cricket was not even cold at the vet, we came home and Pogo was on Cricket's pillow. Pogo started to demand his medicine at 6 o'clock every day. He realized that it was his time to step into the supreme overlord of the house role, and he did it from minute one, and he has never looked back. And
he judges us.
Now he judges us all the time. And I am so glad I am not his human. Set is his human.
Yep. My plant is toast. How do I arrange a funeral? I saw a figure with Sith over my plant collection. How do I save them? And is it a good idea to have a death doula on retainer?
Death doulas are just like birth doulas. They help you process and help you transition into your next life.
Answers.
So I tend to compost my plants when they die, or I secretly take them to my neighbor and I leave them amongst their collection. That way they think they killed it. That actually makes me feel good when I do that.
Nice.
I've done it to other people too. I've done it to people in this room. Some people put them on strangers' random doorsteps. That has been a good thing. That never mind.
It's like Ding Dong Ditch, but in reverse.
Yeah, you just kind of, I actually watched. So one of our neighbors every fall puts out mums, and then when the mums die back, they put them out on the street corner. And because I'm a greedy little person, I sometimes take them from the street corner, and if I'm lucky, I'll remember to plant them, and then I have 3 mums. But one year, they must have had a beef with one of the other neighbors, because instead of putting it out on the curb, they arranged it on their neighbor's porch while their neighbor was gone for like several weeks. And then they posted in our Facebook group for the neighborhood, because we live in a pretentious neighborhood that has a Facebook group all to its own that's private. And they posted really passive aggressive things about how neighbors need to keep dead plants off of their porch when they put the dead plants on there, because I watched them do it. And it was a lot of fun.
So we don't tell anyone because mum's the word. I had to.
Yeah. But regardless of how you celebrate your plant's death, it is considered in bad taste to serve veggies at the wake. Okay? It's very, very poor taste.
Also, if you see a figure with a cyst over your plants, it may not be there for your cactus. Seek medical attention immediately. Plants do not have grim reapers and then mythos.
So if you're starting, because you're probably hallucinating.
If you drink the cactus milk.
That'll kill you. If you have eaten the wrong cactus. Yeah. Which, Bruce may or may not grow.
I may or may not have a feel.
Yeah. Did you ever know that nobody ever wanted those?
Still go.
So if you need a variegated hallucinogenic cactus, see Melissa. She's got several of them.
I need a new home because I'd rather pay a bill.
Yeah. But yeah, and go ahead.
If you do lose a beloved plant, it's okay to experience grief over it. If you find having a death to be supportive, then go ahead and utilize them. But all plant lovers will understand.
Yeah.
We all make mistakes, and it can happen any time to anyone.
Yeah, and do what you need to do to heal over your plant's death.
Especially if you have a lot of attachment to it.
Right. Like I have a plant called Monster. I have had Monster since 1992, 1993. It is one of the longest relationships I have had with a living being outside of my family, some of which I have disowned. So this plant is very important to me. If there was a natural disaster or some sort of fire in the household, everybody in the household understands. I will try to save the cat first, because the cat is dependent upon me. Then I will save Monster, and I'll get around to saving Vicky and Set at some point. But Monster comes first.
And if you disown a plant, give it away. Give it to someone else.
Yeah, I mean,
Because you can disown it.
you can disown a plant. If a plant no longer brings you joy, although you can, if you feel up to it, creatively kill it. I don't know what karma will do to you, but you can creatively kill it, and as long as you compost it, you should be fine. Yep, that's it. So, in conclusion, it's okay to kill plants. It's okay to make mistakes. It can happen to everyone. We are all on a plant growing journey together. Anyone who tells you they have never killed plants and that plant growing is easy and they're in denial, they're lying to you. They may have been drinking the cactus milk, I don't know, but we've all been there.
But if there's green, there's hope.
Yes, if there's green, there's always hope. If there's not green, there is hope in our world. There have been plants that can go dormant and look dead for years and years and years. Bruce will tell you stories of how he's had dead things for several years, and 3 or 4 years later, they start to grow again.
And just like backing up your digital data, as World Backup Day is coming up on March 31st, propagate. Having multiple copies of your plants or being able to give babies away can safeguard your collection if anything happens.
Kathy has done that for me. Kathy Willis, my mom has some Christmas cactuses that have been in our family for like 150 something years. My mom propagates the crap out of them. I have given away hundreds and hundreds of cuttings. She's given away hundreds and hundreds of cuttings. I continued to kill them until Kathy gave me a propagation from one of the cuttings she had, and I'm able to keep that one alive. So knock on wood, when my mother finally kicks the bucket or has to downsize and I inherit one of the original plants, I will not kill it. Hopefully. Otherwise, I will have to seek a death doula. But yeah, having multiple plants is fine. And you might be able to make money off of them. You can paint them green. You can paint them pink and put
glitter on
them. Yeah. So that is the end. We will send the slide out. We will put some sources on it where we found stuff. But that is pretty much a comedic guide to growing cactus and succulents. Hopefully you've been entertained. We sincerely hope you've been entertained.
You want to stop the recording, or are you gonna do it?
Yeah, I guess I'll do it. Actually, do I have the recording? I do not have the recording on.
The buttons over here.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I've been asking this.
Well, thank you so much, everybody online. Enjoy yourself.
I feel like somebody throwing